So this is a different video. It just popped up. I'm gonna see what it's like. I don't know what I'm expecting to see in this video, but it's a discussion. And we'll go from there and see what it's like. I don't know what I just said. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to my channel. This is gonna be a different one. It's a discussion between Chris Paul and JJRedick that they had on his page or his podcast. And we're just gonna see what they talk about. There we go. Okay, let's go.
Before we move on from the manipulation thing, I promise you can talk about the ripthrough.
Yeah.
Where you talk with the rules committee, where do you stand on the ripthrough? Should it be a foul, or should we kind of move it the same way that the jumping backwards into people and the ball ripped through James Harden does?
What you think? Like seriously, it don't matter to me. Like whatever you do,
I think sometimes it is a basketball move.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if you're in a triple threat position and you see the guy's top foot and you attack the guy's top foot, sometimes it is a legitimate basketball move and a foul.
You know.
Other times you got the ball over here and the guy puts his arm out and you're not even attacking. You just rip the ball through to get arm contact.
So anyone who watched my last video with Chris Paul, you would have seen how he just manipulates the rules to get away with those calls. JJRedick is talking about it like sometimes there are people who play with their front foot or their foot in front, and it's quite easy to read the rip through on those positions. But now, and he says that's a valid foul. Now he's talking about I don't know if he's talking Chris Paul specifically, but everyone knows Chris Paul specifically abuses it. Now he's asking and this would have been before they changed the rules for what's his name, Trae Young and James Harden. And so Chris Paul is about to give his 2 cents, I guess.
That to me is a non-basketball.
Okay, that's fine. You know who I blame it on too?
Evan.
No. KD used to do it and stuff like that, but I blame it on the teachers, like the coaching. How do they teach when a ball screen comes, boys? When the ball screen comes, what do? Jump into the ball. Is that not how it's taught? Like, tell them. Like, real, how's it taught?
If you're on the side and the team that ices or downs, glues, whatever the call is, where you're forcing a baseline, when you jump to the side, they tell you to basically arm bar the hip. Put your arm on the hip.
Right.
You can't move your arm out of position once the guy starts to rip through.
And so for
you're dead meat. So you basically have to do this.
Boom. Exactly. So for me,
There was a gym. I didn't know. Wait, so people were taught this fundamentally? I don't know. This is first for me. So let me hear that again.
Exactly. Right.
You can't move your arm.
Wait.
Is that not how it's taught? Like, tell them. Like, for real, how's it taught?
If you're on the side and the team that ices or downs, glues, whatever the call is, where you're forcing a baseline, when you jump.
So they're talking about, I guess, when you get a screen to set, someone comes to set a screen for you, and you're trying to force your offensive player, if you're playing defense, and you're trying to force them baseline.
Side, they tell you to put basically arm bar the hip. Put your
exactly right.
You can't move your arm out of position once the guy starts to rip through.
And so for
you're dead meat. So you basically have to do this.
Boom. Exactly. So for me, I actually play defense, and I played defense for a long time. I know how to guard a guy without putting my arm in, especially if that's what the guy likes to do. Then I'm gonna get in there with my body and keep my arm out there, right? Like, we get paid a lot of money to watch a lot of games, and you mean to tell me on the damn scout report it's not on there that I'm gonna do the rip through? Whose fault is?
That's a good point. If you're a defensive player, and I've talked about this too, if you're a defensive player and you don't do your scouting report, especially at a higher level, and you get abused by this guy's move that he does every time, that's your fault. You need to pay attention to things. So there's this rule, right, where it should only take you 3 possessions to find someone's game out. So first you have to let them take that. You step off and give them the first shot. If they shoot that shit with confidence, they're happy to shoot. If they don't shoot their confidence and they have to dribble into that rhythm, and then shoot it, they'll shoot it if they have to, but they don't want to shoot that shot. They want that drive. Now, if you if you step up, that's one position, right? It's like shoot or not shoot. And now if you step up on this first position, second position, this is the second position. So the first position, you let them shoot, or if they shoot, they don't. That's what it is. Second position, you step up. Now if they drive, you have to try and force them to which hand. So if they're left-handed, force them right and see if they take their right hand and then they come back to their left, and vice versa. This is if they do the shot, if they shoot. Alright, let me rephrase this right. So the first possession is you let them shoot. And if they shoot with confidence, they're shooters. If they don't shoot with confidence, you let them shoot all game. And that is what it is. You do a Westbrook on them. Now, let's say they do shoot their first shot. Second possession, you go up and you press. Now you have to try and figure out which is their dominant hand. You could read that from their first shot. Some people fake it, but a majority of people don't. So if they're right-handed, you force them left. And now you see how they use the possession on that hand, on that drive. So if you're forcing them left and they're right-handed, and they go right, they take the weak side, but then snatch back, they're always going to come back to their strong hand. Doesn't matter what position, how many times they do it, they want to go back to their strong hand. Now, and saying that's the other way. That's the next position, is if they don't take that drive and they snatch back to their right hand, now you just got to stay with them if you can, because you know that they're always going to come back to you. And I promise to God, there are some people that will do it without thinking, and they'll always go back. They do their pump fake, they drive right. They don't want to go right, they want to go left, so they snatch back to their left and they'll go back to their left. It's like, nah, like some people can't change that, and it's habit. So that's the second position. The third position will be if they take that, come back and snatch back, where do they go? Or if they keep going back to that right hand. And you can read it from there, and then you've got the pass and all that shit. Sorry, anyway.
Is that? You know what I mean? Like I had initially even said that about the James thing, right? Like the driving and guys reaching in there. Don't reach in there. If you know he does, that's a skill actually.
One of the moves that, again, this is the way it's taught, but it's also just legal guarding position. So if James is driving, let's say he's driving left, and you're sliding with him, you are legally allowed to keep your arm on his body.
If a guy reaches under there.
What James does is he reaches underneath your arm with his arm that's not handling the ball, and then he tries to bring it back over to the ball and then flails his arm, and it looks like a foul.
Now I completely understand that. That shouldn't be. Okay. It shouldn't be. But when when a guy drives in there and they extend their arm or something,
and slap down,
that's a foul. And then they want to call that on the side. No, that should be a shooting foul, right? At least so. Yeah, we probably would have won in Houston if they would have did that when.
Fun fact, they don't call that shit no more. Thanks, James Harden. Thanks, Trae Young. And I don't know if it's my size or not, but it doesn't matter. If I do that move and I pound the ball to the ground and I rip through, I get told that's me initiating the contact, so it's no foul. Refs out there, let me know what's up with that. That's bullshit.
Like, at what point are we going to hold guys accountable for, knowing the game? Right? Knowing the game. So, if I get the ball late down the stretch or something like that, and I call for a ball screen, you not thinking enough, or what's not, you want to get into the ball like that. That's my fault.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? That's my fault.
All right. But it's a non-basketball move. Sometimes it is. You will admit that. Sometimes you do the rip through and it's a non-basketball move.
No, I ain't say that. I didn't say it's a non-basketball move, because this is the other thing too. And if we really want to get technical, this is what I really get mad about. You know how I shoot when we play ones.
I know. It's a valid point. That is how you get the ball to your pocket. That's how you get the ball to your shooting pocket.
Or whatnot. And that's how I shoot. I know how to shoot like that. You probably didn't know that. If you ever see me play one-on-one, I actually do
17
that.
17 jabs and you move the ball side to side, and
exactly.
Just shoots off.
So if we really want to get technical, when they say the refs get off by doing that too, don't they? They be on the side.
So this is a good one. There's a video of Kobe. I'll find it one day. and I'll show you. But it's Kobe talking about him guarding people and who's the hardest, and he says KD is the hardest because when he was younger he could only shoot from his left pocket or right pocket. He could only shoot from a specific spot, and everyone practices their pocket, right? So they pull it into that certain thing, they call it a saddle or whatever, and they pull up. If you practice just shooting from anywhere but always getting back into your same spot, it'll make you such a better shooter, man. And like getting rid of that foundation but always being able to get back to your flick is so tough, and it's hard. And you can practice that with just like doing spinning moves or just quick dribble pull-ups or catching the ball off the shot or 1 foot shot, jump shots and shit like that. But being able to, because sometimes you can't get that perfect like pull up shot, right? And so practicing that on your rip through when you're just in your 3-point stance, and like practicing how to move your shoulders and then pull up from anywhere on that rip through will help you so much.
And I'll be thinking to myself, I don't even want to go into that, but that's actually how I shoot a jab shot, is I sweep it through like that. But I can see how it could be frustrating, because people be like, big dummy, get your arm out of it.
Facts. That's their fault.
I'm trying to think how to ask this. Makes sense, but
Sorry, bro, Devontae Graham got me this year.
recently,
This year, he was against New Orleans, and I got him to the ball or whatever, and Devontae sweep through, and I was like, okay.
somebody's been watching.
That's fair. Oh my god, that was a pretty good video. It was a more advanced breakdown of the rip through, because they're professionals talking about it, as opposed to myself. But listening to them, how they explain which, like, people with their foot in front when you do your rip throughs, not understanding the circumstances of the game or the circumstances of how the player is when he plays in certain situations. Like, you have to learn as a player. To practice like scenario moves. Don't just sit at the cones and do that shit. Practice like if you were in certain situations and certain moments. Practice just those things, those fundamentals. I had a brain freeze. My fault. Practice that rip through, bro. It can start a lot of shit. I'm gonna go to another video now. I just wanted to quickly touch on that and see what that was about. Sorry for rambling. Thank you so much for watching. Deuce.